Hey everybody, thank you for joining me in my live video. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you tuning in to my live video. This is Robert Harley. This is the Excelli Live Show. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here in this situation. One of those situations where I can't wait to hear what I have to say. I'm so looking forward to tonight's live video. Tonight we're going to start a new series on the topic called the ABCs of success. The ABCs of success. Now we're going to talk about this for the next couple of days. Tonight we're gonna just talk about the first one. Well, let me introduce it to you first. The ABCs of success is 1A stands for attitude. B stands for belief, and C stands for condition. Tonight we're going to talk about attitude, your attitude. So this is what we call the ABCs of success. A is attitude, B is belief, and C is your condition. We're going to talk about that on the third night. So let's start by identifying what is attitude. Now I'm just going to do some quotes to you. Quotes. Make the little quotes that I have here from about attitude. What attitude is. Attitude will either make you or break you. Your attitude is so important. It will either make you or break you. You know, one of the things that separates successful people from non-successful people, one of those things that separate them is their attitude. Successful people have a different attitude than non-successful people do. So that's why I say the attitude will either make you or break you. Either make you successful or break you and not make you successful. Your attitude is, this is another quote here, your attitude is like a flat tire. No, sorry, let me start over again. What quote is, I missed a part of that quote. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you fix it or you change it. You can't go anywhere until you change it. So think about that. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. Attitude determines your aptitude. Your attitude determines your aptitude. So let's talk about what is attitude. Attitude is a predisposition or a tendency to respond positively or negatively towards a certain idea, object, person, or situation. I'll read it again. Attitude is a predisposition or a tendency to respond positively or negatively towards a certain idea, object, person, or situation. Okay, so those kind of attitude. Here's another quote. A little attitude. No, sorry. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. I'll read that one again because I kind of messed up reading it the first time. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. So that's what attitude is. Now, for time's sake, we're just gonna go into talk about attitude. Talk about it a little bit. This is such a broad subject, you know. And you can actually write a whole book on this subject called attitude. Actually, I think there's books out there that covers this whole, because it's such a big, huge subject, attitude. So I'm just gonna touch on three things. We're gonna talk about three things that will help you have a good attitude, and then we're going to talk about some things that are your enemies of attitude. So these are just three things, and now to have a good attitude is not just limited to these three things. It's just because of time's sake and because I don't want to make this video so too long. And also, as I said, this subject is such a big, huge subject you can talk about. I just narrowed down to just 3 things, and then we're gonna go on and talk about the enemies of attitude. So the first one is, the first thing that you gotta know to have a good attitude is, don't let outside circumstances and situation determine your attitude. So in other words, don't let outside circumstances, what's going on the outside, determine your attitude. Your attitude should always come from the inside out, not from the outside in. So you don't let outside circumstances, outside situation, outside people, what's going on, even other people's attitude towards you or towards whatever, don't even let that in affect how your attitude on the inside. Your attitude should always come from the inside out, not from the outside in. So the number one thing for you to help you to have a good attitude is, don't let outside circumstances and situation and people affect or determine your attitude. Determine whether or not you can have a good or bad attitude. Don't let that happen. Don't give people or circumstances or situations you face in your life, don't give them that much power over you and over your attitude. So don't let outside circumstances and situation and people determines your attitude. So that's number one. Number two, take full responsibility for your attitude. Take full responsibility for your attitude. Now we're talking about how to have a good attitude, how to have and maintain a good attitude. So number two, we're talking about take full responsibility for your attitude. In other words, it's up to you to have a good attitude, to determine whether or not you're going to have a good attitude. Not again, go back to number one, not from outside circumstances or whatever is going on around you. It's up to you, regardless of what's going on in and around you. It's up to you to determine whether or not you're going to have a good or bad attitude. So you take full responsibility for your attitude. Take full responsibility. That we're living in a world where a lot of people don't want to take responsibility. They want to pass the buck to someone else, or pass the blame and pass it on to somebody else, and let other people have control over them. Or in this case, you are the one who have complete and total control over your attitude, and you need to take full responsibility for it. No one else can have control over your attitude unless you give them that power and give them that right. So you need to take full responsibility for your attitude, and don't get alone that anyone to have that power over you. So number three, how to have a good attitude. Stop blaming others, situation and circumstances for your attitude. If you see, all of these things are connected. All of these 3 things here, how to have a good attitude, are all connected. Stop blaming others. Stop blaming your situation. Stop blaming the circumstances that you're facing in life. Stop blaming whatever is going on the inside. Stop blaming them, those kind of things. Stop blaming the way you were brought up. Oh, it's my mother's. I'm like this because of my mom or my parents or whatever, or because of how I was brought up. Stop. That's not taking full responsibility. Number two, that's if you stop blaming other people, that's not taking full responsibility. Number 3, you have to stop blaming others. You have to stop passing the buck. The buck stop with you. I think that's one of the things that former President Barack Obama heard him saying in a speech or something. He said, "The buck stop with me." The buck stops here. with you, you and I have to have that attitude. The buck stop with you. The buck stop here. You are the one who is in control, complete control of your attitude. Your attitude will either make you or break you. Remember, the difference between successful people and non-successful people is their attitude. It's the attitude. Successful people have a winning attitude. They have an attitude about them that they carry themselves. They take full responsibility for their action. They take full responsibility for their attitude. They don't blame other people or blame the circumstances and blame the situation. They take full responsibility. And you and I, because I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you, you and I need to adapt that kind of attitude of not blaming other people and taking full responsibility for our attitude, because we are the one who have complete and total control over our attitude. And the moment we start blaming, that's when we give up that right that we have, that control that we have of our attitude. We give up that control over onto other people or the circumstances or the situation. You give them that control over your attitude. With the moment you start blaming, the moment you start blaming, I just lost my job, or I don't have the money to do this, or my wife left me, or whatever, my kids that's not listening to me, or I was brought up this way, whatever the circumstances, the situation, or my boss is not treating me good on the job, whatever the situation might be. It's the moment you start blaming other people, you're giving them the power, you're giving them control over your attitude, and you're not taking full responsibility for your attitude. Remember, I think it's Bob Proctor, I get this from Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, one of those guys. He says, it's not what happened to you that makes a difference, it's how you respond to what happened to you, or how you handle what happened to you, that makes the difference. And that comes down to your attitude, your mind attitude. It's how we respond. It's how we react to what happened to us that makes us, that determine our attitude. It's not the outside circumstances. Remember, your attitude, a good attitude or a bad attitude, always come from the inside out, not from the outside in. When you're allowing it to come from the outside in, you're giving the outside circumstances control over your attitude. But when you allow it to come from the inside out, then you say, no, I'm in control of my attitude, and I'm going to make sure I have a good attitude regardless of what's going on the outside. Okay, so those are the three things we do. Again, we talk about having a good attitude, but this is not just limited to those three things. There's lots more. And this subject is such a big subject. You can actually write a book on this, on attitude alone. I'm pretty sure there's books out there on this subject of attitude, how to have an attitude. But we're talking about the ABCs of success, and the first one we're talking about is A, stands for attitude. A stands for attitude. Now let's talk about, to close off, let's talk about a little bit about some of the enemies to attitude. Some of the enemies to attitude. And these are not in any particular order. So I didn't put number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. I'm just gonna write them down because they're in no particular order. So number 1, let's say so first we talk about is indifference. Indifference. When you have an indifference attitude or disgust attitude, when you just don't have care about things, an indifferent attitude towards life, towards the circumstances, towards yourself, when you have that towards others, when you have an indifference attitude, that will affect your attitude. It will affect your attitude in a negative way. We're talking about how enemies of your attitude, how these things can make you have a negative or bad attitude. Another one is worry. When you worry so much, when you worry too much, when you worry about the circumstances, when you worry about this, that, and the other, Worrying is another enemy of your attitude. You must stop worrying. Regardless of what's going on, don't worry. And I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you too. Don't worry. Some of us are worry warts. You know that saying? You're worry warts. You worry too much. That will affect your attitude and cause you to have a negative attitude. So stop worrying. Number 3 is disbelief or unbelief. Disbelief in the number one thing that disbelief people have when it comes to disbelief or unbelief is disbelief in themselves. When you're disbelieving in yourself and your ability and your capabilities and in yourself, that will also affect your attitude and make you have a bad or negative attitude towards yourself and towards towards others and towards the circumstances around you. When you're disbelieving, when you're operating in disbelief, and again, I don't want to go into too much deeper into these. Just want to touch on them. So disbelief. Get rid of disbelief, and one of the disbelief that you have, or unbelief, or disbelief or unbelief, same thing. One of the things you got to get rid of is when you're not believing in yourself, because that's the number one thing. People just don't believe in themselves. So stop being an unbeliever, and particularly in yourself. Stop believing yourself. Stop believing in what's inside of you, and start believing that you have control over your attitude. And number 2 is indecision. And the last one I have here is indecision. People who are indecisive can also have a negative impact on your attitude. When you just can't make up your mind, you just can't make a decision. You're just like, you're just in a la line, those one of those que sera type of attitude, and you just can't make a decision. You can't make productive decision that will take you to the next level. That will bring you through the circumstances and situations that you're facing in life. Indecision is another thing that will have a negative impact on your attitude. Indecision. Learn how to make decisions, and make decisions quickly and wisely. So these are the enemies of your attitude. And again, I'm sure there's more, but I didn't want to make too long a list. Because for time's sake, I didn't want, and I'm kind of time sensitive when it comes to making these videos. So we're talking about the ABCs of success. Number 1, the A stands for attitude. What's your attitude? Another thing that the A could stand for is to awareness. Become aware of your attitude. Become aware of the kind of attitude you're having. Even right now watching me, what kind of attitude do you have towards me, towards this video? What kind of attitude do you have? Become aware of that. Because a lot of times, a lot of people go through life and they go through a day and they're not aware of their attitude. And sometimes you can have a bad attitude and they're not even aware of it. So become aware of your attitude. It's so important for us to be aware at all times throughout the day. At all times, become aware of your attitude. What kind of attitude are you currently having right now, presently? Is it a good attitude or a bad attitude? If it's a bad attitude, you can change that. Because remember, you have complete and total control over your attitude. No one can change your attitude for you but you. And you can change your attitude at any time, any moment, any second, just like that. Anytime, anywhere, in any situation, you can change your attitude to a negative one or a positive one. Just like that. Because it's your choice. You're in control of it. But what a lot of people do is, a lot of people do the opposite of that. They let their attitude control them. A lot of people let their attitude control them. and they think, oh, this is how I am. I can't help it. This is just the way I am. I can't help it. But that's a lie. That's a lie of the enemy. That's a lie. That's part of the disbelief. You think you can't do any better. You can't change because that's just the way you are. That's a lie. You have complete and total control over your attitude. So don't believe the lie that your bad attitude is just the way you are. That's the lie. You can change your attitude at any time, at any moment, from a bad attitude to a good attitude. It's your choice. It's a choice. Your attitude is a choice. So what kind of attitude are you going to choose to have? Remember, your attitude will either make you or break you. Attitude a bad attitude. I'm going to that quote again, that one quote that I wrote, that I quote. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. It's like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you fix it, until you change it. So again, I'm going to close off the video here at this time, but I hope I said something to help you, motivate you, inspire you, and in some way, shape, or form. Remember, you are in control of your attitude. The ABCs of success. Success leave clues. Success leave a roadmap. Success can be predetermined, and one way you can predetermine whether or not you're going to be successful or non-successful is by your attitude. What kind of attitude are you going to determine to have in any situation, in any circumstances, regardless of who you have to deal with? Whether it's your spouse, your child, or a boss, or a total stranger. Well, how are you going to let them affect your attitude? Okay, so remember that. Remember, you're in control. Not your attitude, not your circumstances, not your boss, not your wife, your husband, not your child, your children, not your family members, not a total stranger. You are in control of your attitude, and you determine moment by moment, day by day, what kind of attitude you're gonna have. So I hope you always choose to have a good attitude regardless of what is happening in your life. Until next time, this is Robert Harley, and this is the Excel Your Life Show. I'll ask you to do 3 things for me. Please, 1, like the video. 2, share the video. And 3, please leave a comment. I value your feedback. I love the feedback from people on the video, so I love your feedback. Please let me get some feedback, especially tonight. If you like tonight's video, please let me know. And also, I want to get these videos in front of many people as possible. I want to see many people viewing these videos as much as possible. So I need your help by you sharing these videos. That's the only time I ever ask you for your help is in this area, is in the area you sharing the videos to help me get these videos in front of many people. If you know other people can benefit from what I finished just saying, please share the videos so they can also benefit from what I just finished talking about. Anyways, until next time, when we continue talking about the ABCs of success, tomorrow we're going to talk about B. B stands for belief. Belief. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. So join me tomorrow again. Join me next time for the Excel Your Life Show. Until then, God bless you. I love you. Peace.